I'm the best, so do not test the top of my profession. The master of my chosen field, of that there is no question.
All right. Greetings, everyone. Greetings. This is Malik Assad Jafar, philosophical philosopher and superstar. Let's get right to it. Today, and it is so bright out here, today our topic is going to be about how to deal with toxic people, or not deal with, rather. They don't own their own feelings. And because they don't own their own feelings, they shit on you, hopefully figuratively speaking. But if you let them, of course. Now, remember, you cannot control them. You can't cure them, and you didn't cause it. Those are the 3 C's. Now, you remember that when you're dealing with people like that. If it's bad enough for you to notice that it is toxic behavior, that is problematic, that you don't like it, then it's probably chronic, or it has been reoccurring, or noticeably affecting your life to some degree. Can you stop a tornado? Can you stop a hurricane or an earthquake? Okay, what am I getting at by asking those questions? What I'm getting at is that those are forces of nature, and what that happens is you have to let nature take its course in those types of dynamics. The same thing happens with a toxic person. This is what counseling is for. And if you're not a counselor, don't attempt to be one. Let that person deal with their own problems. And you be good to yourself, and you be healthy to yourself. You don't allow yourself to be someone else's punching bag. Be like water. And so what you do is, they're being that they're toxic. What makes them toxic is pretty much you, if that makes sense. Because, there are some people of certain personality types that can get with another person and they're like 2 peas in a pod, and they're both assholes and they love each other. Well, that's fine. Let them have each other. But then there's some people who want to the passive person, or the person who is not as antagonistic or problematic, will become that punching bag to that person. They're toxic. It's subjective. They're toxic to you because they are toxic to you. And they only do what you let them do, in a manner of speaking. So, what is the statement? If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound? I don't necessarily need to know the answer to that question, because personally, if I don't want to hear the tree falling, if I don't want to be involved in that dynamic, what do? I leave the forest. I remove myself. I put myself in a position where I don't have to deal with that kind of dynamic. And that's exactly what people have to end up doing. Move yourself from that kind of a situation or that kind of a circumstance. A lot of individuals that I have run into say that they cannot remove themselves because this is a family member, or it's this, or it's that, or it's their boss, or it's they'll give you these different statements as to why they cannot remove themselves. And I understand why a person says and does that, because they are feeling a sense of hopelessness and that they can't do anything about it, and they want to subject themselves to, they don't want to subject themselves, they just happen to subject themselves to what's going on. And I'm here to tell you that it's that they don't have the courage or the conviction or the motivation to do what's necessary to get away from these toxic people, because these toxic people have affected them in such a way that they're afraid that if I do anything to keep them from being toxic, they're going to be more toxic to me. So I can't do anything about it. And therefore I'm in a mental prison. You can do something about it. You just have to be creative enough to come up with tactics to keep yourself safe. In the event that you're in a position where you don't want to be around them, there is power in silence. Okay, there is power in silence. And what I mean by that is don't say anything to them. I've got to do it. Man, you better say that there's something wrong with your head, meaning I'm working through something. I've got a headache or a toothache or an eye ache or an ache. I don't care, whatever it is, but here's a good one. Tell them I don't want to talk to you. You are toxic. I know. If it were only that easy. But again, like I said, create a boundary, create a barrier between you and them, so that way they will minimize their interaction with you and stop beating up on you. That's just one tactic. I've got plenty, but again, that's what counseling is for. And if someone says, hey, Malik, this is not working, what could I do? You get at me and you hit me up, or you text me or email me or send me a message or whatever the case is, and I can assist as best as possible. But, remember that silence, that power in the silence. When you do this, don't be fooled when a person starts to change their attitude towards you. And to be in a position to change their attitude towards you shows that they can actually do something different. Oh, I'm not able to get the payoff that I need. Let me change my behavior with them so they will be nicer to me and allow me to keep punching them and being that punching bag. Excuse me, you follow what I'm saying? So this is what ends up taking place. They'll start being nice to you. You'll say, oh, well, maybe they were having a bad day, but you don't realize they were having a bad day, a string of over, since the time that you've met them. No, that's a consistent behavioral habit, and they're a toxic person, and you keep your distance as best as possible, okay? Those are just some of the things that you can do that would be able to assist in dealing with a toxic person. If you have any specifics in regards to this toxicity that you have going on in your life, please feel free, send in the messages to the type of toxic person that you're dealing with, and I will do my due diligence to assist in however way I can possible in regards to guidance, direction, and suggestions. But if I haven't made it clear, how do you deal with toxic people? You don't. You remove yourself from them. They mess with your self-esteem, your vibrational, oscillations, if you will, your vibratory oscillations. They affect a lot of different parts of you, and they are no good for you, and they will also make you sick and toxic inside. Whereas you may not spew it out, it may resonate within and cause you to have illnesses. I've seen it in relationships. I've seen it in a lot of different stuff. But again, I digress. I've been trying to keep my videos short as we have company coming up, but I've been trying to keep my videos short. In the future, I'm going to continue to make them shorter and shorter and shorter and give you exactly what it is that you need to take care of the stuff that you've got going on in your life. Be blessed, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
I'm the best, so do not test the top of my profession, the master of my chosen field, of that there is no question.